I ain't gonna lie. I've been holding a lot of shit in lately. Oh, man, I just had like a 3.5 hour cry.
What do I owe the pleasure? What do I owe the pleasure? Last time we speaking together, we wash your car for you. We wash your car. We wash your car with no shame in our hustle. When you got them getting into that wash, and you know that tip gonna be good like you just goddamn this coach. Y'all better start buying this slippery soap, man. What's going on there?
The streets are in turmoil. No one saw this coming. 50 Cent has just dropped explosive leaked tapes that have sent Rick Ross into a tailspin. But this isn't your typical rap beef. This is a full-scale industry shockwave. The recordings, which also dragged Diddy into the mix, have ignited the internet. And once you hear what's on them, you'll understand exactly why Ross is ready to burn it all down. As for 50, this was a strategic masterstroke, controlled chaos at its finest, and nothing short of legendary.
Just like New York, just like Mount Vernon, New York City, Mount Vernon, and Miami, all that is the same, bruh. Nobody wants to be near him. Nobody wants to touch what he touched, be where he at. You understand? It's crazy, bruh, how his fall from grace, which was never from grace. It's just like the devil just kicked him out of hell. Because he was never in nothing graceful and did anything graceful. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what you say about, okay, he did the music, he had the bad boy legacy and everything like that, man. But, you know, a few albums, a few people, you know, made to be famous, but they not here to tell their story. Black Rob, Biggie, Craig Mack. They not here to tell their story, bro. And now you got everybody telling his story.
Yeah, and I know 50, he did a recent interview with US Weekly saying that the reason why rappers are quiet about, you know, Diddy's situation is because they've been to his parties and they don't know what got caught on tape.
Bro, those people who was caught at Diddy's party did not know that he had 250 tape recorders in that house.
Girl, let me spill the tea, because 50 Cent just proved he's been playing the longest, coldest game in hip-hop history. Remember back in 2009 when Rick Ross came for him with that whole Officer Ricky drama? Everyone thought it was just another rap beef. But 50? Baby, he was playing chess while Ross was out here playing checkers. While Ross was celebrating like he'd won the war, 50 was silently taking notes, collecting receipts, watching every flashy car, every Wingstop flex, every dollar move. He didn't react. He waited. Patiently. Calculated. Letting Ross enjoy the spotlight while he plotted the perfect time to strike. Now fast forward to today. Ross is everywhere, flexing his Checkers franchise, dropping boss talk, giving business advice like he's untouchable. That's when 50 made his move. If you were paying attention to his IG last week, the clues were there, shady captions like, "Some people ain't broke, they just fake it real good," and the icy tick, 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 time's almost up. The streets started whispering, but nobody knew what was coming. Then, boom! On a random Tuesday, no promo, no warning, 50 dropped the first tape. No caption, no build-up, just cold, raw footage. And baby, the internet? It lost its damn mind. Group chats lit up, timelines were on fire, and one thing was clear. 50 didn't just clap back. He flipped the whole damn table.
But he had 250 tape recorders in that house that they took, that the feds found. So now with them finding all that and you being at a Diddy party, you know you may have done something that was caught on one of those tapes. You just better pray to God that they don't recognize you. Those people who know that they did something, no, they're not going to speak out. They're not going to say nothing. What part of the game is that? They are not going to come forward and tell on themselves. Nah, not at all. Ice Cube, he said it himself, bro. He said that Diddy's been targeted because of what he said about those folks and those people. Now, the people who was on those tapes may feel like Diddy might be targeting them. Because if he's asked about who is this, who is that, and he's under oath with the federal government, he got to tell them. He's not going to plead the fifth.
Yeah, I know that got to be a terrible feeling, man. You know you did something wrong at Diddy party, and you hoping and praying that it's not caught on tape.
But they don't think they did nothing wrong. That's their lifestyle. That's their lifestyle, bro. I ask guys all the time, if two men lay down, how many homos get up? What you mean? I mean what I mean. It's what it is.
The reactions hit like wildfire. Industry execs were holding emergency meetings, PR teams were in full-blown crisis mode, and anyone even slightly linked to Ross or Diddy. Radio silent. This wasn't some petty diss track or a leaked DM scandal, this was surgical. Cold. Ruthless. 50 Cent had been lying in the cut for years, plotting a takedown that no one saw coming. And just when Ross thought he was sitting pretty at the top, 50 snatched the ground right out from under him. The craziest part? Ross didn't even realize what was happening at first. Word is, he was deep in a business meeting when his phone started blowing up. Calls, texts, non-stop alerts. His team was spiraling. The footage had already gone viral. Ross thought it was just another 50 troll job until he actually saw it. That confident grin? Gone. Reality hit, and it hit hard, and if you thought that first tape was brutal, the word on the street is there's more. A lot more. 50's been sitting on a vault of receipts, waiting for the perfect storm. 14 years of silence, watching, waiting, like he's been writing a revenge movie with Rick Ross as the clueless star, but here's the kicker. That first drop? It was just the prologue. Now everyone's asking the same question. What else is 50 hiding? Because if that was just phase one, what's coming next might just shake the whole industry to its foundation. And trust, Ross feels it. He's bracing for the fallout while the rest of the game holds its breath, waiting to see what detonates next.
I'm 100% factual, but it's somebody in this story of things that seems more reliable than others, Race, is what I'll say it, just to protect my sources. But this source informed me of who these A-list celebrities are on these tapes that are being allegedly auctioned off online and through the networks. And it's put me in a little bit of a bind because I like to be fully transparent with the audience. I want to say things, but I also realize, from what I'm told, because again, I haven't seen them directly yet. I haven't. And I don't know if I want to. Race, I want your advice on that too. But the problem I have is just like, typically I want to report these things, but I got to be careful legally, ethically, morally as to what we report on here. Because as Ariel, the lawyer here, did admit, and I can attest based on the information I got from a separate, reliable source, people in these videos don't know they're being videotaped. That's a big issue, Race, right? Let's start out right there. If there are people on these tapes that don't know that they were being filmed, is that okay to talk about and to share?
I have a big problem with that, as do you, Andy, and you tend to be an ethical guy and you're taking the high ground here. Notwithstanding the fact that you may have some significant information and reliable information, but the reality is that, look, I mean, if people were recorded non-consensually and you're the one to identify them, I think that's a problem. right? And I think anytime anyone has content, right? This is not an email. This is not a text message. This is video. And there's specific statutes without using specific language I don't want to get into, but everybody knows what we're talking about here.
It's Diddy with this person. I'll say that. It's Diddy with this person. Actually, yes.
Yeah, and see, the problem is, again, like non-consensually recorded, you got a victim here who may not want to be publicly identified. That's the problem. That's the problem. And they have a right to proceed if they want to, whether it's criminally or civilly, without being identified, because we know what's going to happen. As soon as they identify themselves, there's going to be a bunch of people that come out of the woodwork who are going to unequivocally harass them and claim that didn't happen, and they're making stuff up. And there's the victims that we want to protect here, and that's significant.
Well, it's interesting because here's why I wanted to have this conversation, because I know a lot of you are like, Andy, just say it. No, I'm not going to say them, but I wanted to have this conversation as to why we're not saying it and why I think others haven't yet said it, raised, because again, legally, ethically, morally, it's just not right. Now, there's an argument I've had with people who are like, well, they knew what they were doing with Diddy. Like these were consensual acts. Like they knew, and he filmed other times. So I don't know what the big deal is. It's going to come out. It's going to come out is what I keep hearing from other reliable sources. It may come out, but it's not going to come out via me. That's just to warn you all, because I don't think it's wise for us to put out something like you just confirmed it without the consent of the other person in the video. Because again, from what I'm gathering based on some of these tapes, and again, we're still learning more, and I haven't seen them with my...
Remember all those times Ross swore up and down that he never did business with certain people? Well, baby, that's exactly why these tapes are setting the industry on fire. Because the receipts, they don't lie. 50's got Ross caught in 4K doing everything he spent years denying, and this isn't some minor slip-up. We're talking footage of Ross in deeply compromising situations with Diddy. And no, not business dinners or red carpet appearances. We're talking exclusive invite-only parties, private settings. And Ross? Way too cozy with people he once claimed he didn't even associate with, but what's really dropping jaws is the audio. In one clip, Ross is casually bragging about how he and Diddy arranged these so-called special setups for up-and-coming artists. The tone? So relaxed, so confident, it's clear this wasn't a one-time thing. This was structured, systematic. A whole operation. Industry insiders who've seen the footage are already whispering that this could get Ross completely blackballed. Because this isn't just scandalous, it's dangerous, and then comes the curveball, the tapes? They're perfectly syncing up with old rumors about Ross's early rise, those stories he spent years dismissing as lies. Now, they're looking a whole lot more like the truth. These videos paint a new picture. Ross, not just connected to the people he denied, but actively involved in deals that stretch way beyond normal business.
Isn't it weird that the government was so interested in Diddy's baby oil that they took 1,000 bottles away from his house? If the government took 1,000 bottles of baby oil and somebody had things what appeared to be baby oil, and then you have to listen to the prosecutor. He said that they seized 1,000 bottles what allegedly to be baby oil. Allegedly to be baby oil. So that's telling people that it wasn't baby oil. And people think that that was baby oil, they out their mind. I don't believe it was baby oil. Yo, bro, when they went up in there, they knew what they was gonna find. They knew what was ever in that baby oil or that those bottles that appeared to be baby oil, they knew about that at first. You gotta realize 9 times out of 10, that individual that got caught at the airport, that was supposed to be their carrier, told them what they was doing and what they had. I wouldn't put it past that he told them everything. So when they went up in there, they knew they had to take whatever was out there, and that thing that appeared to be baby oil, they took that. They got to test every last one of them. Let's see how much, let's see how many of those come back to be baby oil. Bro, listen to me. Costco don't sell that much baby oil. Where you know sell that much baby oil?
Yeah, I don't know any store that sell that much baby oil. I know Costco, they came out and said that they don't even sell baby oil.
My sentiments exactly.
But you personally, right, what do you believe was in the baby oil?
If you ever seen a massage parlor being raided and they walking out the people, do they take the massage oil with them when they go? No, they just walk out the people who are being arrested.
The reactions inside the industry? Absolutely explosive. One top executive, who asked to remain anonymous because they're still active in the game, said watching the tapes felt like witnessing someone's entire career collapse in real time. Another insider, tied closely to Ross's label, admitted they had to call emergency meetings. Why? Because nobody knows how many more bombs 50 Cent might be sitting on. This isn't your typical rap beef. There are no diss tracks or messy DM leaks here. These tapes? They've got Ross and Diddy looking real suspect, especially with all the swirling allegations already surrounding them. And the timing? Couldn't be worse. Ross is out here trying to build his business empire. Wingstop deals, Checkers franchises, brand collabs, every one of them now hanging by a thread. And Diddy? He's already drowning in legal smoke and media fire. This kind of heat makes corporate partners run for the hills. 'Cause when video evidence surfaces, that's the kind of scandal they don't touch. But here's Ross's worst nightmare. Every time he tries to deny, deflect, or spin the story, 50 claps back with another clip. One by one, the lies fall apart. It's like 50 had been tracking him for years, quietly stacking receipts, just waiting to pull the trigger. And when Ross finally saw what was actually on those tapes, that's when everything unraveled. It's one thing to hear rumors. It's another thing entirely to see yourself, clear as day, HD footage, exposed in front of the world. And Ross's reaction? That's when this went from messy to absolutely catastrophic.
If you ever seen a person getting arrested and the people being arrested in those brothel houses, do they take out the stuff in the brothel houses? No, they don't. They take the individuals who are being arrested out the brothel houses. For them to take 1,000 bottles of baby oil, it's like that they did not leave one. They left people there, but they ain't leave not one bottle. Nobody needed no baby oil. So my whole thing about it is that there was something in that other than baby oil. That's why they took all the bottles. And 9 times out of 10, if I would give it a wild guess, it was, and like some of the people told me, it was probably that GHB.
What's that?
I think it's gamma hydrox. I looked it up, bro. Let me see. See if I can find it. I know this is just showing everything like that, but oh no. Let me. Yo, somebody tap dance or sing or do something, you know what I'm saying, while I'm doing this. Oh, here it go right here. It's gamma hydroxy butyric. What is it effect on the body? It's a euphoria, drowsiness, decreased anxiety, and memory impairment. It works on the nervous system and gives you this feeling of euphoria. So they take that and rubbed it on her, and you forget who you are, what you're doing. It can also give you memory loss, drowsiness, and that's under the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration.gov.
When those notifications started lighting up phones at 3 a.m., nobody was ready. The storm had arrived. And Rick Ross? He wasn't just furious. He was in full scorched earth mode. Behind the scenes, veteran PR pros were texting each other in panic. Somebody needs to stop him before he destroys everything. His first response hit Instagram like a nuclear bomb. 15 minutes of raw, unfiltered rage. No script. No chill. Just pure emotion. Threats, accusations, and a level of heat that made it clear Ross wasn't interested in damage control. He wasn't even denying the tapes. He went straight for 50 Cent's neck. You could see it in his eyes. Sleep deprived. Pacing like a man on the edge. Every hour brought another explosion. First came the voice messages, sent directly to anyone reposting the clips. Threats of lawsuits. Wild claims. And then Ross started dragging up old dirt that hadn't seen daylight in years. His team? Rambling. They issued official statements, made back-channel calls, tried desperately to rein him in. But Ross wasn't listening. He was back on IG Live at 3 a.m., name-dropping, exposing secrets, throwing out reckless threats that had even his most loyal allies stunned. He wasn't playing chess. He wasn't even playing checkers. He was flipping the whole board, and then he crossed a line. He started leaking addresses. Not just of 50 Cent's usual haunts, but of locations tied to 50's family. That's when everything changed. The room went cold. People who once had Ross's back started quietly stepping away. Fast, his PR team kept releasing carefully worded statements, begging the public to focus on the facts. But every time they did, Ross would jump back online and blow it all up again. Within minutes, behind the curtain, his phone was blowing up with calls from business partners, pleading, begging him to stop, telling him to log off before he burned everything he'd ever built. What started as a PR crisis had turned into a full-blown meltdown. And now, no one knows how far Ross is willing to go or how much more there is left to lose.
Activities with other, A-listers having activities together is what this is. And again, that's a potentially outing of somebody as well. You know what I mean? There's so many things here that happen in releasing of this private consensual moment that while salaciously everybody wants to know, and people are messaging me all the time, Andy, who's waiting? And it's like, I'm not gonna say, because there seem to be way too many things that these people in the tapes, whether consensual, whether they, whatever, didn't agree to put out there. And I would think that's a legal issue too for anybody who puts these out first, no?
Yeah, you nailed it. You can't without the consent of the victim. That's the problem. Somebody thinks that somebody has no idea, right? You said, well, didn't they know they're being recorded? No. I mean, in these situations, the assumption is they did not know. And that's what we believe right now, is the victims did not know that they were being recorded. If the victim comes out and says, okay, yes, I knew I was recorded, and a statement is provided, that's a different story. But of course, you don't know that. So you, Andy, probably can't be the one to break that ice and be like, well, this is what I heard and this is what I know, and so I'm going to say it. And there's all kinds of hairy legal issues on that, right? With privacy and intrusion on seclusion is what we call it. It's a privacy violation. There could be defamation implications. There could be criminal implications. So you're doing the right thing by treading carefully. And I think more people should do this rather than get into speculation. Now, if you see the videos, even still, right? If somebody takes...
Not to interrupt, but that's the question. Like, am I allowed to see these videos? Like, if I were to ask this source, show me the videos, do I put myself in worse legal jeopardy?
That's another distinct legal issue, right? It's like you're watching something that someone didn't know they were being recorded of doing, right? And so it's dicey. It's dicey. Now, it would be different if you were an attorney and somebody's coming to you for purposes of defense or prosecution of a claim, a civil claim, or the filing, of some action to recover damages. That's a little different. But for purposes of, hey, look what I got, juicy gossip, and there are reporting outlets that I won't mention that will do stuff like this. I don't know that it's the smartest thing to do. I don't know that it's the careful thing to do. That's for sure. Or it's the ethical or moral thing to do.
Yeah, it's exactly. I'm not a lawyer, but maybe this source will show you, and then you can verify what we know. But here's the other problem. Even if we verify what we know, like as I watched what Ariel, the lawyer, got these tapes, and even, again, I don't want to get into the details, any remote details that could help explain or allude to even more of theories that are out there, or, debunk or confirm. But I will say, hearing what I heard, which again isn't confirmation, but hearing what I heard, it makes me dislike what Ariel's doing even more, because I think there are going to be people out there, if this information does get out in some way, that are going to deny that these people are victims, that they're going to try to say, oh no, they're just consensually and they were hiding this affair and yada, yada, yada. And I don't see it that way personally. I mean, and granted, I haven't seen or know, like, this isn't somebody involved from what I've gathered in these tapes of them, doing it to others in a way, criminally, like we've heard in some of these suits. This is just, it almost feels like, again, if it's real, like blackmail material that Diddy keeps to sort of hold over these people's heads. And to me, that's awful to the people in it, whether they agreed or knew or whatever. It still just feels like that's no one's freaking business. And maybe they were doing it for reasons we don't know. Just because we saw it in the tape doesn't mean they weren't feeling pressured in other ways, right? So it's a heavy and complicated thing, but it's not a hard decision to say I can't run with trying to even allude to these people.